everybody, Crafting Journey here, that journey chick over on Instagram. And don't forget, I'm putting up shorts. Yes, Crafting Retreat blog. Look that up. Just little short, a YouTube shorts on my trip. I'm up to they're all numbered so far, 1 through 5. Anyway, I'm so excited. Today is the day. Now, the retreat doesn't start till 4 o'clock. So, let's I got a lot of time on my hands. My goal is to stop at the Nestle plant. I would like to get a tour, maybe do some filming of that. Boy, last night I was so tired. You ever been so tired you can't sleep and you've got that nervous energy? And I talked to Tia and Billy, and I'm like so excited about this. Billy's Crafting Lounge, I think is his creator name, and Tia's Crazy Craft Addiction. She's going to be my roommate at this retreat. Check out her videos and his as well. Hey, and don't forget to hit the like button. Look, he's still sleeping over there with Richard. That's the like button. I gotta poke him, get him awake. Yeah, not real. Yeah, no. Please consider subscribing if you have not done so, and please share this video with a friend, or maybe they're not your friend, but just share it with them and let them know, hey, you can watch Rebecca's blog and live trial recap. So today's the day. Closing arguments. So I'm going to go over, I've got a lot of stuff to cover today in the trial before you put up your opinion on the community page. I'm going to post a community page. So last night I missed Craft With Me Wednesday. Here's what happened. I'm driving in the car and I kept saying to myself, I'm looking at the Google map, and the Google, how it'll tell you how many hours till you arrive at your destination, which the destination is ultimately Souder Village in Archbold, Ohio. But I knew that I wanted to stop when I was about 5 hours away, so that I'd only have about 5 hours to drive today. So I'm listening to my book on tape, and every now and then I'd look down and it'd be 5 hours and 40 minutes, 5 hours, 35 minutes. And about 3 hours later, it was at 5 hours and 25 minutes. I'm like, what's happening here? I'm tired. I'm hangry. Google, what are you doing? Well, what it was doing was adjusting for heavy traffic. I'm like, oh, now it's like 7 o'clock at night. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to put this picture up here. This is what I'm passing, and if you have to pause the video to figure out what this picture is, pause the video. Yeah, pause the video and look hard at this picture, because I was almost past it when I caught it with my camera. I'm like, oh no, I'm in trouble. So yeah, just inside joke. So today is National Fudge Day, which is so interesting because I stopped at this little place called Ozark Land, and they had fudge. Yes, but they also had taffy. So I'm gonna, share this with my friends. They had, I think, bubble gum, popcorn, orange chocolate, s'mores. I did eat some of it already. And then it is National Fudge Day, and they did have lots of fudge. I'm just not a fudge person. They had this Divinity. Now, I know you can buy this anywhere, but isn't it better when you buy it from an old-fashioned general store? Taffy, Divinity. Oh, Dylan's Divinity. So good. And, you can't go without buying a gourmet pecan roll. Yeah, I know. And the other thing, I think I bought this because they had a whole thing of candy too. So I bought this Oreo covered, I don't know what it was, but that's what I had for after dinner last night. It was just pure sugar, but they had every kind of fudge. So, if I'm going to have fudge, I like the panouche or peanut butter. Aren't they the same thing? I don't know. But my sister likes chocolate. She bought chocolate, from our local shop that also has fudge. She bought chocolate, and I can eat, like, I'll just cut a little piece. You can't eat a lot at a time of fudge because it's just so sweet. But I love the feel of it in your mouth. Oh my gosh. Now, nobody really knows the origin of fudge. Where did this come about? But we know it's really delicious. How do you want to celebrate? Stop somewhere. Like Ozark land. Are you guys watching Ozark? I thought about that when as I'm passing it. The other thing I thought about, oh my gosh, as I get off on this road, it's like if I had gone made a left instead of right. If I had made a left, I was going to be in that little town in Missouri that I said I would never go through. Where that last. There's a crime story I told not long ago where the woman went missing from Missouri, and yeah, I would have been that way. And I'm like, no, we're gonna go right to the Ozark store. So I haven't done a lot of exploring because, like, I stopped at lunchtime yesterday and sat in a restaurant and did some work for my job. Yeah, so National Fudge Day. Grab a piece of fudge from somewhere, share it, buy some for someone else. Yeah. Anyway, today is crafting and crime day. So what I wanted to do, because this morning is the closing arguments in the case, and then it'll go to the jury after that. The judge said she's going to allow the jury to deliberate till about 7 o'clock tonight. She's going to order them dinner, and then if they don't reach a decision, she's going to bring them back tomorrow. Same thing. Monday, same thing. So I wanted to go through last night, because I couldn't sleep, the evidence and make sure I had brought to you everything. And there was a few things I missed. First of all, I'm like, when did I miss did the medical examiner testify? Where's the medical examiner? Well, I found it. So the medical examiner did testify. First thing on day 4. I don't know how I missed that, but I did. So here's what happened when Danielle stabbed her husband. It was in the right shoulder, near the armpit. No, left shoulder. I'm pointing to the left. It was in the left shoulder near the armpit. It went through the skin, all of the fascia of the skin. It went through all the deep tissue. It went through what's called the basilic vein, which runs to your arm. So he probably was not using his arm real well. And that is a very large vein, is what was explained by the medical examiner. And it was, not only was he hemorrhaging outside by the apparent blood all over the house, but he was also hemorrhaging inside because that wound penetrated the left lung, and it also went into the left chest cavity. Now, she did not mention that it caused his lung to deflate, but she said as that chest cavity was filling up with blood, he would have had more and more difficulty breathing, talking. Yeah, and she found about 1 liter of blood in the chest cavity, and the body only holds about 5 liters of blood. So she said at some point, and she doesn't, she quantified it by saying he probably would have been able to walk around for 15 to 20 minutes before that chest cavity would have started filling up with blood, and combined with the external blood loss, and he would have become incapacitated or gone unconscious, or to the point where, now he's down in the living room, he can't talk, and he could have been alive for, 2 to 3 hours in that condition, and just not able to help himself or talk, because as your lungs are filling up, it's becoming more and more difficult to breathe and talk. So, could Danielle have saved his life if she had come out of that bathroom and called 911? We know she came out of the bathroom. Well, I'll get to the cross-examination in a minute about what she did when she came out of the bathroom. So she said the medical examiner continued testifying. He had heart disease, but there was no evidence that he had a heart attack. What else? Okay. Now, this was not discussed during the direct or cross-examination. I suspect because the prosecution didn't bring it up, the defense couldn't bring it up on their cross-examination because the prosecution would have objected, saying that it was beyond the scope of their direct examination. You can only cross-examine on what's been brought up during the direct examination. So during the defense's case, they brought the medical examiner back to the stand and had her testify about the toxicology that was run on the body of Michael Redlick, and his blood alcohol came back at 0.9, which the legal limit to drive is 0.8, so, which means you're pretty inebriated. So he was clearly under the influence of alcohol that night. I guess the larger question is, was Danielle under the influence of alcohol? Because we know that she's, in addition to going to McDonald's to get her quarter pounder, she stopped at the ABC liquor store and got a bottle of wine. Now, I don't know if she was ever able to open it and drink it, but, you know, that's a good combination, quarter pounder and wine. Never thought of that. So that was the medical examiner. I made my little notes on the hotel stationery. Okay, so then there was the cross-examination of Danielle, and I felt like, well, clearly the prosecution doesn't believe her that this was self-defense, does not believe that she was defending herself, that he was trying to insinuate that she was the aggressor. He really focused his exam of her, or his cross-exam of her, on the actual event, not everything that led up to the event, and the various lies that she told to the 911 operators. And why wouldn't you just tell the truth if that's the way it happened? I was scared. And so she stuck to her guns about how it happened. He tried to get her to waver from how it actually happened, from her story of how it actually happened, and she didn't. She just would not waver. And she does admit that when she came out of the bathroom, she found his body. She says she couldn't find her cell phone because he had taken the cell phone. So she eventually finds the cell phone, and it's like over by the couch or something. She finds the cell phone, and she dials 911, 911. In my mouth. So of course it doesn't go through, and so at this point she realizes, hey, maybe she thinks in her mind he's dead, but maybe I can bring him back to life if I give him CPR. So she tries to do CPR. Now, apparently there was some testimony that there was some vomit, that to the point where she vomited. She said, no, I never said that. What I said was that I did it to the point where I smelled vomit, but there was no vomit. And the medical examiner actually confirmed that there was no vomit on Michael, on his body. So her cross-exam was, wasn't long. He was very argumentative with her, and wouldn't you agree, this and that and the other. And she just wasn't wavering. But she also didn't make for a very sympathetic witness. There's no crying. She, the day before, during her direct examination, I do want to mention this, she had told the judge that she had not been getting any sleep, because the judge asked her, are you under the influence of anything, in order to make this decision to testify? And she's like, no, I'm just lack of sleep. Now, during the defense's case, they put on an orthopedic doctor, and he appeared by Zoom. And he said he was the team doctor for the Memphis Grizzlies, and that he met Danielle sometime between 2003 and 2005, but that he knew Michael as the executive of the Memphis Grizzlies, and he and his wife, Michael and Danielle, came to him one night after a fight. And he said they were both very embarrassed about the whole thing, but they were both injured. Her to the point, and he doesn't remember the exact injuries because he didn't document anything. This was kind of an off-the-record type thing where he looked at her and he said, I think you should probably go to a plastic surgeon. And he refers her to a plastic surgeon. He later on finds out that she didn't go to the plastic surgeon. He said he originally thought he had, his memory was that he had also referred her to an oral surgeon, but he checked with the oral surgeon and she never went there either. So she must have been like pretty messed up that he thought she needed a plastic surgeon or an oral surgeon. But this was as a result of them getting into a tussle, which supports Danielle's testimony that this was a long-standing thing between the two of them, that they would argue and fight. And I want to say that she was battered, but I think she was battering him as well. I think it went both ways in this relationship. And I'll tell you why I think that. So, another woman got on the stand. She was Danielle's son Sawyer's friend's mom. I hope you're following that. So one day Danielle came over to pick up her son, and she had a black eye. Now, there was no explanation for that. She was wearing sunglasses, and I guess she didn't realize that she came in the house. She took the sunglasses off, and she could see the black eye. But so more support that she and Michael had been fighting, and that he injured her. Now, I will point out that she's 139 pounds. Danielle read like Michael, 240 pounds. So then we get testimony from the inmate phone system operator, and he picks out 2 phone calls where Danielle used someone else's PIN to make a phone call. He says they have to have a PIN number to make phone calls. It's a PIN number that only they get, but what that happens in the jail is that they will exchange it with their cellmates, sell it for commissary money, items, free phone time, and that Danielle actually used a cellmate's PIN on 2 occasions. The first phone call was played, and it was to her daughter, but I could not understand what was being said. I couldn't make it out. Then the second phone call I could hear, and you could hear it was again to her daughter, and her daughter kept saying how angry she was. And it was, the whole discussion was, Danielle's like, why won't you talk to me? And she's like, because I'm angry, and if I talk to you, it makes me sad, and you won't tell me the story of what really happened, and I'm getting all these different lies, and I'm just angry. Like, in general, I felt like she was just saying, in general, she's just angry about the whole situation. So I don't know I guess the relevancy of that was that she used someone else's pen to make these phone calls, like that somehow made these phone calls nefarious, but I didn't hear anything nefarious in the subject matter of the phone call. Like, she wasn't telling her daughter how to testify or anything like that. She was just trying to get her teenage daughter to talk to her, which we all know it's not easy to get teenagers to talk to you. Now, on this was day 4, the day that Danielle had told the judge that she was not getting any sleep. And during the examination that day with the medical examiner and everything else that was going on, the cell phone calls and all this stuff, Danielle is literally, she's like falling asleep. I'm like, somebody get this woman some Starbucks. She's like, you could tell she just could not stay awake. I think what happened, here's my theory, is that she was so amped up about testifying that once her testimony was over, now that wouldn't make any sense because she hadn't finished testifying. I don't know. But anyway, she was just couldn't stay awake. It was weird. Oh, then we have the testimony of Jaden. Remember, I told you Jaden, her daughter, did actually testify in court. The judge ordered that there be no audio or visual in the court. So Court TV covered this. We had a reporter in the courtroom that came back and brought some information. And I'm going to put up a couple of slides to show you what this information was. So one of the things she was questioned about was, what was your parents' relationship like? And Jaden said, a very toxic, tumultuous, very rocky. Yeah, it was not a good relationship, very rocky. Then she went on to say, who was the primary source of this toxicness? I'm assuming that tumultuousness is what the prosecutor was asking. And Jaden said, my mother. And the prosecutor says, why do you say that? And Jaden says, if there was an issue between them, it would be brought up by my mother. That is not good for Danielle Radcliffe. So, like I said, closing arguments today. I'm going to put up a community post. You know, you're the 13th juror. In this case, you're the 7th juror because there's only 6 in Florida. So you're the 7th juror in Florida. What's your verdict? Now, she's on trial for either, it can be second-degree murder, they can find manslaughter, and I think maybe even going all the way down to aggravated battery. The jury can go down to a lesser included offense. So, do you think she's guilty of one or all of those? Do you think she's not guilty by reason of self-defense? Or do you think this is going to be a hung jury? I'm on the fence, guys. I am on the fence. After her testimony, I sort of felt sorry for her because I felt like he really was manhandling her. But I think she, like I said, it just sounded to me between the daughter's testimony and even her own testimony that she gave as good as she got. So, I don't know. You know, it's not okay for a man to hit a woman, but it's also not okay for a woman to be shoving a man around or are verbally abusing him the way she says she did. So, okay. Did she push him over the edge? Did he push her over the edge? Did they both go over the cliff together? We'll see. So what happened this day in history? In 1884 is the first roller coaster. Oh, and aren't we the better for that? It opened, of course, in Coney Island in Brooklyn, New York. It was known as the Switchback Railway. It traveled about 6 miles an hour and it cost a nickel to ride. It was a huge success, and by the turn of the century, there were hundreds more roller coasters across the country. So that's the show for today, guys. Don't forget to go over to the community page. Let me know how you would vote on the Danielle Radcliffe case. I am going to be at the retreat, but during verdict watch, if we do get a verdict, I'll go to my room. I'll do a live. I've got my computer set up so I can switch to the courtroom. Um, Assuming we have decent internet access, that's always a that's always an issue. But anyway, I've enjoyed bringing you the show this morning. I'm excited. I'm gonna get on the road, hit the road. Jack. Well, first I gotta get some coffee. Yeah. All right. Bye, everybody. Love you.